This video is important. Listen very carefully. Okay. Moral will, willpower, spiritual power, and well power, right? The well, Jesus said, drink from my water, right? Humans are made of what, 50, 60% water, something like this, right? Okay. It represents the ability to bring in the next child, right? To give birth, shipping, right? The ocean, the bodies of water. Okay, the whore in the Bible sitting on the waters or something like this. Right? Bottom line is moral well, morality, more reality. You can't redefine morality in terms of your culture like Americans do, for example, right? You have to truly understand what morals are and to have the willpower to follow through, to be willing to take on the rest of the world like I pretty much am for the highest principles of morality and to be screened out. This moral will creates the willpower, okay? You say, I am going to do the right thing, and as I'm in the repetition of thinking this way and living it, right? This puts the spies on the enemy side as a disadvantage. When you look at God's system, it doesn't allow you to be serving the enemy and to be serving God, okay? Because you have to be in the repetition of this thing. That's like sitting on your ass, eating donuts all day, getting fat, and expecting to be the fastest runner in the world or something. Okay, you have to be in the repetition of this. You have to build up to it. So whether they sabotage you, whether they keep you from doing martial arts like their drugs are keeping me from it, okay, ultimately I'm building the moral will. That's what counts, right? The willpower. And it's stupid for females to not understand this idea, you know, and they don't understand if they don't follow suit. Because how could you understand something so obvious, so fucking key in life and not follow suit? So they don't understand. They're not as smart as I am. Nowhere near. Okay, so ultimately it leads to spiritual power. Okay, the hero is the master. Heros, master. Horus is the master. Why? Because he has moral will, trying to restore the divine order and the divine law. He's not limited by the law of man, by cultural norms, cultural barriers. No, he's destroying the divine order for everybody. Okay, that's what he's trying to do. And he dies trying to do it. Okay, it's stupid not to see it that way. That's why every female by default is dead wrong for not obeying me. Because that is the divine order. And she's dead wrong for rejecting me because I'm Pharaoh. This is the divine order, the ideal man. Not only is it stupid to use an inferior scale for who you should date, but it is God saying, obey my son. And you're supposed to help him restore the divine order. And if he says you are the suitable helper, you're supposed to be with him. It's fucking a no-brainer. So again, moral will, right? More reality, morality, willpower, right? And willpower. Now, I'll use the example of a female who's raised by a weak-minded person. She's related to a weak-minded person. He raises her to be a conformist and a social butterfly and a ninny, and she comes out being a ninny, right? Nature and nurture. Now, let's say she was raised by somebody with strong will, okay? And it wasn't strong enough to obey Pharaoh. Then she comes out with weak will. Why? Because it's her nature to have weak will. Somebody who comes into the world with true moral will cannot be raised in a way that keeps them from expressing that. It's going to come out, okay? So if she was raised by someone with weak will and she comes out with strong moral will, which I've never seen myself, then, you know, ultimately, she was meant to have moral will. It's in her DNA, in her genes, right? A and D, okay? So if somebody was raised by someone with strong moral will and they come out with weak will, it's because it's in their genes to have weak will. There's enough points of references in societies and morals of the story. Morals of the story, right? It has to do with morals, right and wrong. So it doesn't so much matter how you are raised and where you are raised and how much money you have. It's what resonates with you. And this has everything to do with genetics. So in terms of acting like a gangster or breaking the law, nurture is the determinant. More often than not, at least. In terms of having the moral will to be a suitable mate and to serve God, nature is the determinant. Okay? It's that simple. Moral will, willpower, spiritual power, okay? And so on. Here, the heros is the master. The hero is the master. Now, ultimately, what we see here is that people cannot have moral will if they've taken out the Redeemer. Say, for example, that there was only two people on earth. One people came from another place and wiped out the innocent people that were greater at martial arts than they were and had more moral will, then took all their stuff. There is no such thing as living, okay, and being moral after that. You're living on the food and the land of the good people, the good obedient to God people that you have killed. If a few of them had lived, there's no living, their children cannot live and be moral for the same reason. They have teamed up with the oppressor, okay, and bred with them over time, and now they can't be moral, even though they're related to these people. It doesn't matter, okay? And so it is with the martial art order. There is no wiping out the bloodline of Pharaoh, okay, and being moral after that. Your descendants can't turn around and say, well, I actually have moral will. What moral will do you have? What moral lessons can you teach? You are the descendants of the betrayers of the righteous one that God meant for man to obey him and his bloodline. What morals could you have? There is no morals after that. There is no becoming a leader and leading people in a moral direction after that. It is just ill-gotten gains. You've snaked them. Even in your own story of the Bible, the snake, you've snaked them. You've cheated them. Okay? You can work the angles on that. I was going to say something else I forgot. This is partially a consequence of females shunning me. You know? Oh yes, when you scientifically do it, they do it as groups, right? All the popular people in their cultures are in secret societies and gang stalking groups. As groups led by these people, okay, they scientifically are cheating me out of my rightful place with 17 witnesses, with videos that show things that can only be a result of chemistry, right? Drinks. I'm in a restaurant in one of these videos, and you can see the soda on the top of the straw not falling down with no fizz. You think I sat there in the restaurant? Here, I'm going to add some chemicals, mix it together, and voila! You know, here's my Coke before even receiving my meal. How stupid is that? Obviously, it's something that was in the drink, which probably came from the factory, and it's not even the restaurant's fault that they remotely activated. It is insane not to see it that way. Okay? There's no investigation, nobody standing with me, just a bunch of immoral fools who can't man up because they don't have moral will. And God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and good, and he made man in his image. So if man wants to man up, he has to go toward being good. He can't turn his blind eye on good, especially when it comes to the Son of God and obeying God. He turned a blind eye on morality, which is not manning up, and this is the Son of God, the top martial artist. No one alive could possibly be a man or be meant to bring in children that are righteous if they don't obey. That's simple.